my channel. On today's episode, we are going to be doing something that I haven't done before, but I thought this year had to be the year I was going to do it. I am doing a 2020 rewind. So what I want to do is actually go back and talk about all the things that happened this year. And as weird as it sounds, I kind of want to remember this year. So I know this year was really weird and had so many bad things happen. But I really wanted to step back and look at the good things that happened in 2020. I kind of wanted to make this video so that I could look back on this year and think about like how crazy it was, but how many amazing things did happen. So please go on this little time journey with me through the year and let's do a little year roundup. So let's start with January, of course. I attended MagFest at the very beginning of January. I believe it's the first weekend of January. It's always very early in the year. MagFest is a music and gaming convention and it is really something very special. I actually have a whole video on that which you can find linked here or in the description below. If you like music, or if you like video games, or if you like video game music, you definitely can't miss this one. MagFest was the convention that I debuted my Tinex Blue mat. Yes, I wore a giant fairy costume to a crowded convention at the same hotel that Katsucon is taken at. I had two people with me in my group. I had a Tekna and a Musa, and I will tag them here. I also debuted my Chiangsa Maki at this convention as well. And I was so happy to get some really beautiful photos of that as well. And the lighting at MagFest is so pretty. They leave up a lot of their Christmas decorations and holiday trees, things like that. And you get to take pictures with pretty lights next to the trees with the stars in the background. So it's really a nice convention to go to at that time of year. And then I also debuted my Galarian Ponyta costume at this. And I really honestly kind of felt like a mix of Nyan Cat and Katy Perry, if that makes sense. You can definitely see how you could put the two of them together and it would become my Galarian Ponyta costume a little bit. Overall, it was so fun and it was a great beginning to a wonderful, or what I thought would be a wonderful convention year. So we'll scoot on over to February, which is when I attended Katsucon, which again is at the same place as MagFest. This Katsucon was my favorite by far. I think I did like 9 costumes or something crazy. That was the first time that I ever scheduled myself so much. I definitely would step back and tell myself maybe take it easy a little bit next time, but it was so much fun. Some of the new costumes that I debuted there were my casual winter look Eevee. I had a great group. We did a little casual winter evolution look Thursday night. It was a really great way to kick off the convention. I also got to do a duo cosplay with one of my favorite cosplayers ever. Her name is Alana Owlette. She also has a YouTube here. That's actually how I found her. And oh my gosh, it was so amazing to finally be able to cosplay with her. We did a duo costume of Royal, Nidorina, and Nidorino. We got some amazing photos with our good friend Yenra, who is another amazing photographer. He also has a lot of different outlets. I will link him below for you. His dress is ginormous. It's really hard to see in the photos because we couldn't get enough space to really sprawl out the dress, but it is so big and the train is so long. So I spent a lot of time picking it all up and walking around like this because I didn't want anybody to step on it, but it was really worth it in the end. I loved it. I love the costume so much. I love how it turned out. You guys know I had a lot of issues with the dye process. You can go back in my highlights on my Instagram and check out all the work in progress from that and for all my other costumes as well. We also got to give the Gajinka panel together along with 2 other amazing cosplayers. I also did my first big Love Live group. I was so excited to host a Love Live group. We did the Muse Valentine's Day set. It came out so cute. I loved every minute of it. The whole group was amazing. Everyone was so nice, so sweet. And anytime I get to wear a Maki is a good time. I also wore another Love Live costume on Valentine's Day. I wore the Valentine's Day Aqua Ruby costume, the one with the bonnet. And honestly, this was probably one of my least favorite costumes of the year. I'll definitely do a little ranking later on in the video, but it just ended up being really uncomfortable and I just don't think it fit me. Like it fit in my body, but it just didn't like fit my style. I just wasn't comfortable. That's all I'm gonna say. But we'll talk about it when we get to the rankings later on. I also got to debut my shiny Eevee costume, which I actually am wearing a lot of it now. I'm just missing the ears, but I figured that'd be too much for the video. And it was so fun to wear that on Sunday. It's so comfy and breezy and cool, and it was a great way to end the weekend. So Katsucon was around the middle of the month, and coronavirus was definitely being talked about a lot, but it wasn't really like a thing in the US yet. So I was full on planning to attend my next convention, which was BFGCon, which was in the middle of March. BFGCon is a smaller gaming convention and it focuses a lot more around board games, tabletop games, but it is such a cute little convention. So last year at BFGCon, I was a cosplay guest, and they had asked me to come back to be a cosplay guest again, and of course I said yes. But I went a step further and really put myself out there, and I worked with one of my dear friends, DappleMe, who I will tag here, to put together a small idol festival. We worked so hard on putting this idol festival together. We worked with the convention. They were so excited for it. We had like 10 different groups of idols that were going to come and perform at this convention. And I believe it was Thursday of the week of the convention when the governor of the state that the convention was being held in capped attendance at 250 people. At this point, I had been in close contact with the convention leading up to the convention itself, and they were talking about all these different things that we would put in place to be safe. It wasn't a big deal yet. They were still being told that they could have the convention. Literally, people were set up at the convention Thursday evening when the news broke. I personally wasn't supposed to arrive until the next morning, but I was all ready to go. And we got the email shortly after saying that they were told the convention could not be held because there was over 1,000 tickets sold. And it was so heartbreaking to have all this work that we had put in just like canceled. Like it was done. We couldn't have it. I'm like, I don't know. I have no idea. This is crazy. And at the time, like I was like, oh, well, it says just like 10 days or 2 weeks or whatever. Like I'm sure it'll be fine. And here we are. It's now 2021, basically. It was just such a weird feeling, and I really know that it's been such a scary time for so many people, and my heart really goes out to everyone that's been directly affected by this. It's so scary, and I really, I wish the best for everybody and hope you guys are really doing as well as you can and have been doing okay. So I already had other costumes ready to go for conventions, and so I didn't know what to do because I was like, well, I guess we're not going to have conventions for a little while, and when it was apparent in April that this was going to be going on for a while, I started to have to figure out how I was going to do a photo shoot at home. I'm lucky enough to have a pretty nice setup here that I can do photos, but when I first started, I did not have the softbox, which is what's right here. I have a whole video talking about my setup, which you can go and watch. I'll link that here and below. And you can find my entire setup listed on my Amazon page, which is linked below. But I had to figure out what I was going to do. So I already had my string lights back here and I had a ring light. And that's all I had, and I didn't know what I was going to do. But I thought, well, I got to put out new content, right? Like, I got to put out new content. I don't know what I'm going to do. So I ended up doing a little photo shoot of my opening Maki, which I'll post a picture of here. And I really realized, like, oh, the lighting is not great. This is not a good setup for doing pictures inside. Like, I don't know what I'm going to do if we don't have conventions back, because when you go to conventions, you have beautiful venues, you have amazing photographers that all come together, and I was using a phone to take these pictures. I was doing my best to edit them, but I was just getting really frustrated, and I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do. So I also had my Omoi Ruby costume as well, ready to go, again, for a convention. And I did photo shoots here again for that. And again, I was like not super happy with it. The other thing was I just wasn't happy with the costume. And again, we'll get to our rankings later. But another one I wasn't happy with, and you might say like, well, that's 2 Ruby costumes. Maybe Ruby's not your thing. But I really love Ruby, and I've definitely had a lot of fun cosplaying her before, especially her cheer outfit is my favorite one of hers that I have. And I just wanted to be as cute as all the other Omoi idols that I've seen, and they all look so cute, and this costume just did not jive with me very well. And I think part of it was not having great photos coming out of it, and I was just really frustrated. So it just started to kind of be, as you can see, I'm starting to get a little bit upset with things. So then For Easter time, I had already planned to do the Cafe Mew Mew outfit for Barry. And really, honestly, I was again thinking that conventions would be back, and they weren't. And I thought, well, I was going to do this for Easter. I was sending out Easter cards to my patrons. So I thought, well, I got to do this. And it was just tough. And you can see in the photos that it just wasn't jiving, and I still love the costume so much though, and I ended up getting better photos of it more recently when I had a better setup. I'll post a photo here. So what started happening was I really started losing motivation fast. Like, I was losing all motivation for cosplay stuff. Like, I thought, I don't want to make anything. There's no reason. There's not going to be any conventions. I can't really get good photos of them. I just started getting really upset, and I think this happened for a lot of people, and I definitely feel you on that. It's been really hard and frustrating to not have conventions where you could get together, do big group cosplays, where you have these amazing photographers, amazing venues again to work with, and you're stuck in your basement with a ring light and a phone to take pictures. And it just started to get kind of frustrating because you want to get nice pictures of your costumes. I think we can all agree on that. Even if you didn't make your costume, you want to get nice pictures in your costume that you put together. Even if you thrifted it, you still put time and effort into it. You want to get a nice photo of it. You want to be able to wear that to a convention, have people recognize you. You want to wear that to a meetup with other cosplayers from the same fandom. I totally get it. And it just started to hit me like, this is, I don't know what's going to happen. And I started to think in my mind, like, maybe I shouldn't even do any of it right now. I'll just take a full break. Like, I don't know what to do. And then I found TikTok. So TikTok has been around for, I think, like several years. I think it used to be called Musical.ly. I don't know how long it's been around, but it definitely was like the sequel to Vine. I will tell you though, Vine will always hold a very dear spot in my heart, and nothing can replace it. But I found this TikTok thing because I noticed that a bunch of people started using it, and I was like, oh, I had kind of heard of it. I wasn't really into it. I was like, oh, it's just trying to be Vine. Like, it's never going to replace Vine. I didn't really know what to do, but I thought, and late one night, I want to say it was like April or something, I thought, maybe I'll just download it and just see what it's all about. Like, I'm not going to do anything. I'm just thinking about it. I'm just going to look at it. So I download it, and I suddenly find myself making TikTok videos. And I finally got bold enough and posted a video. And a lot of people saw it. And it's not like it went viral or anything, don't get me wrong. But a decent amount of people saw it. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, people care about my cosplay. And it was so much fun to put together the TikTok. Like, I'll tell you, I'm a person that when I go to a convention, I don't do a lot of the play part of cosplay. Like, I'm not very good at role playing. But for whatever reason, I was really having a lot of fun doing it on TikTok. So then I kind of kept going, and I kind of kept getting better at it and figuring out how to use the app. And then I started getting more and more excited about it. And then I kind of started getting a little bit of a motivation back. And I was like, oh, maybe I want to do more cosplays because I figured out how to find audios. Like, I literally had no idea what I was doing. I started having so much fun with this that between like April and May and June, I had made quite a few closet cosplays. So I just kind of kept making more and more closet cosplays. And I made Jigglypuff. I made Flora from Wings Club. I made Hannah Montana. I did Marie from the Aristocats. Like, I was having so much fun. I even think I did Brittany from the Chipettes at some point. Like, I was having so much fun making these that I started to get a little bit of motivation back. At the same time, TikTok started to kind of take over my life. I really started to kind of spend so much time, and I mean sometimes 8 hours straight of just putting on a costume, taking it off, putting on the other costume, doing a couple videos, taking it off. It was getting a little bit crazy, to be honest, but it was really a lot of fun. It was such a good way to cosplay. Well, we didn't have conventions. I also started doing a bunch of collabs, like Pass the Brush challenges. But like, it was so fun to connect with other cosplayers digitally, and I met so many new people. It was amazing. And then I kind of like had this vision of a Mega Ampharos costume, and then I realized I had this beautiful metallic holographic, stretchy gold fabric that I had laying around for years that I didn't know what I was going to use it for. I thought, this is it. This is my moment to use this fabric. So I ended up making this costume like within a month, and it's very simple. It's definitely nothing something crazy. But I had so much fun putting it together, and every time I look at it, I just get so happy. Every time I get to wear it, I get so happy. I can't wait to wear it to a convention. It was so creative. It was just really a lot of fun to put together, and I kind of like that kind of started adding more and more and more to my motivation, and I'm so happy that it did, so I had the energy to keep going. So now we get into like the July-August time frame, and I had been posting a lot of evolution content over on TikTok, and this is where TikTok really started to take over my life. So I had been posting a lot of evolution content over there, and every time I posted an evolution video, I kept getting comments like, oh, well, Umbreon's my favorite, or Leafeon's my favorite, or oh, do you do Vaporeon? And like, I had not made a video with all of them in it. I had made like maybe a video with 2 or 3 of them, or 2 of them duetting each other, but I didn't have a video of all of them, and I was getting like literally so tired of having to answer people, telling them what the reason was that I was like, I don't have an Umbreon cosplay yet, I don't have a Leafeon cosplay yet, I do have a Vaporeon, I just haven't posted videos of it. So I started to get like a little bit frustrated, thinking like, oh, I gotta do this, I gotta make all these videos, I gotta put these together. So as much as I was feeling a lot of pressure about doing all the evolutions, it ended up being a good thing. I kind of very quickly put together an Umbreon costume, and I ended up really loving it. I loved the ears that I made, and I was able to take some really nice photos. And at this point also, I had already invested in my softbox, and again, you can find my whole setup linked down below. And I think I got the whole setup maybe in like the June time frame, when I really realized that we were going to be doing this for a long time and I needed better lighting. And you can definitely see the difference between a photo that I took before having it and a photo that I took after, and even videos that were took before or after having the softbox and an extra tripod. It's made such a difference. And so this kind of leads into one of my other YouTube videos where I talk about a couple of photo shoots that I did at the end of the summer. Kind of as things started to level out and we started to figure out what was going to be the new norm for now, what was open, what wasn't, what could we do, how could we be safe and socially distanced, and all that stuff. So I have a whole YouTube video about a couple shoots that I did over the summer, so you can find that here, and I'll link it below as well. I ended up finishing my Leafeon costume and therefore finished all the evolutions, and that was probably my biggest achievement this entire year, and I'm so happy. And I definitely want to go back and make different versions of both Leafeon and Umbreon, but at this point, I'm totally happy just having done them at all. So some of the other costumes that I ended up doing these shoots of and that are referenced in that YouTube video are a casual version of Shizuku from Love Live. I also did another Maki costume because I can't stop cosplaying Maki. I also did a Ichigo from Tokyo Mew Mew in a strawberry dress because the strawberry dress was like this big trend this summer. It's just such weird trends happened this whole year. So I got a strawberry dress and I did a cosplay of that. And I also did another version of Ruby, and this is a version of Ruby that I actually enjoyed wearing. So that's the aquarium set, and I'll post a picture of that here. So towards the fall, I ended up getting a Blake Belladonna version 1 costume, and I really had a lot of fun doing a photo shoot of that. I also got a new phone during that time and was able to get some really, really nice photos, and I was so happy to have a phone that could take nicer photos because, again, how long are we going to be in this not having conventions and nice photographers? I put together an Among Us costume, so if you've lived in 2020, you know that Among Us has become so popular, and of course I wanted to jump on that. I enjoy the game myself, so I made a pink imposter costume, which you can see here. I actually did a pass the brush challenge, which for whatever reason went viral on TikTok. But anyway, we're not gonna get into that. I also did Ash from Pokemon. I also did some Halloween things. I did a Halloween Maki because, again, I can't stop doing Maki. She's my favorite thing to cosplay right now, aside from Sylveon, so I had to do it. I also made a mint Oreo McFlurry costume, which sounds so weird and out of just completely like not with anything else that I've done, but through TikTok, I met this other Pokemon TikToker, and I will post his Instagram and TikTok here. His name is The Professor, and he is a Pokemon professor whose partner Pokemon is a Ditto. And he works with this one artist. I'll post her here, Lizzie Draw, and she is an amazing young artist, and she created this OC of this Oreo Mint McFlurry, and the professor was holding this costume contest where if you did a Professor and Ditto themed costume, you could win a special Pokemon card. And I ended up doing that, and I ended up winning the contest. I don't have the Pokemon cards yet. He has sent them to me. I just haven't gotten a chance to go and get them, but I'm really excited to get them. And he's a really cool TikToker, definitely somebody to check out if you're a Pokemon fan. Another kind of like thing that ended up taking over my life a little bit was the Nijigasaki Love Live anime. So I mentioned Love Live a few times, and I am not like a super big Love Live person, but the newest group of girls recently had their anime come out, and I was just so excited, and I loved it so much. I was really loving the anime that I ended up putting together 4 of them, and we went to a park to do a shoot where I did all 4 of them in one day. I wish I had vlogged it. It was such a crazy day, and getting changed in a public bathroom and social distancing, and it was crazy, but it ended up becoming so much fun. So I did Karen and Kanata and Shizuku and Lanshu, who's not even in the anime yet, but I love her. I literally don't know anything about her, and I love her. And then the final costume that I put together this year was my Holiday Sylveon. I kept designing a Holiday Sylveon for literally months, and every time I designed her, she kept looking like Snow Halation from Love Live. I know I keep talking about Love Live. For whatever reason, this year has become Love Live. And I ended up being able to use the Snow Halation design to do this costume. And I'm really happy with how it came out, and I really had a lot of fun doing it. So that was all the new costumes that I did this year. I'll definitely talk a little bit about some of my Cosplans from next year, but I want to do a little like ranking like I had mentioned earlier. So next I want to do is my least favorite costumes, so I will do 3 of them. So my third least costume was my Celeste costume from Animal Crossing. So as you know, again, if you lived in 2020, you know that Animal Crossing became huge, and I became obsessed with that cute little owl, but I just didn't have the motivation or time or effort to like go and put together an entire costume. So I kind of just threw something together. So there's a picture here. I just am very not happy with how it came out. I did a couple TikToks in it, and I just like haven't even posted some of them because I'm just like, oh, I don't really like how it came out, but I hope to do a really nice costume of her someday. My next least favorite is probably the Amoy Ruby outfit. So I talked about that earlier. I think it was a mix of, it didn't really fit 100%, like physically fit me. It was a little too big. It was just not as cute as I thought it was going to be, and I didn't get good pictures of it. I think just a lot of things made me just not enjoy it. I also realized I don't really love polka dots, and I didn't think it looked good on me, and it was uncomfortable too. So overall, that was probably a second. And my least favorite costume of the year was the Valentine's Day Ruby. Even though I got some amazingly cute, adorable photos in it, and the photographer that I worked with at the time made me feel so comfortable, and she was amazing, and we really got some cute photos. I just was so uncomfortable in the costume. It was the day of Katsucon where I was literally trying to do like 5 different things in one day. I was only going to be wearing the costume for like 2 hours, and then I was going to go and change. I was trying to watch the masquerade, and it was my photo shoot was scheduled during the same time. It was just really, really, really stressful, and just you could just look at the costume and see that it's very complicated and has a lot of pieces, and part of it had broken off while I was trying to put it on, and there were beads literally falling on the ground. I didn't know what to do. It was frustrating. The wig wouldn't sit right. I was hot, but I was cold. It was so short. I just was so uncomfortable. So my top 3 favorite costumes that I did this year, I actually want to like kind of break this up into like 2 portions. I actually want to do a Love Live one because I feel like I did so many Love Live costumes that I kind of want to leave them on their own ranking system. And then I want to do like my favorite costumes of the other ones, if that makes sense. So my third favorite costume for Love Live, we're talking about Love Live now, was my Karen Asaka costume of her winter uniform. Even though the winter uniform is very similar to the other girls whose winter uniforms I did, for whatever reason, I ended up loving wearing Karen more than any of the other ones. And I thought that really she would be my least favorite, and I ended up loving wearing her so much, and I'm planning on doing more cosplays of her in the future, and I just had a lot of good feelings surrounding it. I really liked how I looked. I really liked the character, so I would have to put that as my third favorite. My second favorite is my Valentine's Day Maki. The costume did not fit 100%, and it was kind of uncomfortable, but there's so much happiness surrounding this costume. First of all, I love wearing Maki. Anytime I'm wearing Maki, I'm happy. But the group that I was with was absolutely amazing. The photographer is one of my good friends, and that whole night was just so much fun. And yes, let me just be clear. I wore 2 Valentine's Day costumes at the same convention. One I loved and one I hated. And then my number one Love Live costume from this year was my Cheongsam Maki. I just thought it was really pretty. Even though it's such a simple costume, it was just, I don't know, I loved it. I didn't think I would like how it looked on me, and I ended up really liking it. There's really not much else I can say about it, and it was like at MagFest, which was, again, just surrounded by a lot of good memories, so I'd say that one was my favorite. My third favorite costume that I did this year was probably my holiday Sylveon. I just loved how it came out. I just feel like I had such a clear vision on that one, and it was so cute, and it really got a lot of love, which I was super happy about, and it really helped the holiday season feel so much more special again, because this year has been so weird. My second favorite costume is absolutely my Nidorina. I am so happy that I got to cosplay with Alana. She's absolutely amazing, like such an idol, and I was so lucky to be able to cosplay with her, and our costumes look so cute together, and I loved how this one came out. My number one costume is my Tynix Bloom. There's so much I could say about it, and I literally have a whole YouTube video about it, and it just was my favorite costume that I made. It was so much fun to make. I absolutely loved wearing it. I loved how it looked. I love Winx Club. Anytime I get to be a big dramatic fairy, that's my favorite. So now I will just quickly go over some of my cos plans for next year, because I know everybody always asks about my cos plans. So I will tell you my top planned big builds. And when I say big builds, these are things I'm going to build from the ground up. These are going to be totally made by me, 100% from scratch. I'm definitely going to be doing a lot more smaller costumes and closet cosplays as well. Coming up first is my Frostlass costume. I have the design up on Patreon. I will be, probably by the time this video comes out, I will have been working on it. I'm planning to have it out in January, and I'm really excited about it. In February, I am hoping to do a magical girl version of Weiss Schnee from Ruby. I have been kind of secretly wanting to cosplay Weiss for so long, and I was just trying to think of how I can make a costume kind of feel more like me, and I think she's the perfect person to make into a magical girl, so I'm super excited for that. In the springtime, I'm planning to do Roxy from Winx Club. She's actually my favorite Winx Club character. She just doesn't get a lot of screen time or any other transformations, so I always cosplay Bloom. But I'm so excited to cosplay her. She's so underrated, so underrepresented, so I'm so excited for that. Then we kind of get into this tricky situation where if Otakon happens, there are definitely some groups that I plan to be part of, and if Otakon doesn't happen, the cosplays that I had planned for these groups may either not happen or get moved around. So these next few just kind of take with a grain of salt. So the first one is Enchantix Bloom, again from Winx Club, but I'm planning on doing that with the same group that I did my Tynix costume with, so we are just always going to do Winx Club together. If you didn't know, I've already done a Winx Club group with Ember, and she was Musa in the Tynix group, and she was Flora in my Charmix group, so we're always going to do Winx Club together. But if Otakon gets canceled, I may end up pushing that till next year or not do it at all. It really just depends. The other costume that I plan to do with a group at Otakon is the Tropical Sylveon as per the artist Call Cosplay. I will tag her here and below as well. She's made a bunch of really pretty like tropical looking evolutions, and of course I have to do Sylveon. And even if Otakon is canceled, I might still do this one because it's so cool. As we move into the fall, I definitely want to do a witch version of Sylveon. I've been kind of thinking of this one for a while, just haven't really had the chance. So Another version of Sylvian coming, of course. How many versions of Sylvian will I do? Who knows? It will never end. And then as we move into the end of next year, which isn't it crazy, we're already talking about the end of next year, I would love to do the Crystal Syrinx transformation from Winx Club again. And Absol is still in this mix. Absol will get put wherever Absol ends up fitting. I have almost all of the sewing done. Like I said, I've been working on this costume for like 2 years at this point. I just never had a clear vision. But over the last few months, I've actually put together almost the entire costume. Just a few other things that I need to do. But of course now it's winter, and to shoot a costume that is so small is not a good idea. So I will just wait until it's nice out to do that. So I know this video was a little long, but I really honestly made this for myself so that I could look back on it and think like, wow, 2020 was such a crazy year, but like look at how much fun I had and how much cool stuff I did. I'm definitely looking forward to 2021. I feel like we might be able to get back to conventions at least in the second half of the year, I hope. But if not, I'm still gonna be doing all the TikToks and taking videos and photos here, and I'm so excited. I have a lot of ideas for YouTube videos coming up as well. Thank you guys so much for coming on this journey with me, and thank you for being here with me in 2020, and I hope to see you in 2021. Thanks.